Bible verse first. It comes from 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7, and it reads, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have remained faithful. So that's the word of God for the people of God, which I believe everyone in here is a part of. So before we start, I'd like everyone to bow their heads and pray one last time. So dear Heavenly Father, I pray that you give everyone in here a open heart, a clean mind. I pray that you give me a spirited tongue and the mind I need and the mouth I need to say what I need to bless these people in this room. I pray you give me the energy, the encouragement, the excitement to fill the room with praise. Thank you for everything that you have done so far and everything that you will do. Pray in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right. Good morning. Whew. I got to get my nervousness out. So my name is Ashleigh, for those of you who don't know. A lot of you guys are new. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've been in friendship for 10 years of my life, so a pretty long time. I love it here. Dennis, everybody. I'm a youth leader, but outside of that, I run track, which is like a very important part of my life. My coach is in the back, so I love running, and that's something that I do outside of church. So yeah. So how many of you guys know anything about track? Yeah, I have some teammates in here. All right, what y'all know about track? When you think about track, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Right. Is it easy or is it hard? It's hard. Right. And so y'all know anything about the events? Right. Okay, so y'all know anything about the 400? 400. What we know about that? Tell me about that. It's one lap around the track. Right, yeah, and it's pretty hard because it's one lap around the track. And it's considered one of the hardest races because you're supposed to sprint the whole thing. Like, not everybody does, but that's what you're supposed to do. And so it's too short to like run it like it's a long distance race, but it's too long for you to like not sprint it. So like it's really hard. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about today is track. And mainly what I'm gonna focus on is your entire race. So when I'm preparing for a race, like people don't just go into it. You know, like Usain Bolt, Allison Felix, all these great athletes, like they don't just go into the race. They always have a plan. And so that's called your race plan. You know, that goes to the name. And so you break down the race. So you have the start, you have the middle, and then you have the finish. There's like a lot of other stuff in life. You have the start, you have the middle, you have the finish. So I'm gonna go ahead and break it down for us. So when you start in the 400, your goal is to like come out really, really hard. Like you want to take the lead. You want to come out determined to take the lead. Like you make sure you get to the front of the pack. Cool, come out determined. Then when you get to the middle, you want to keep the lead. You want to run so you don't become too tired to finish. So you just have to stay focused on that. You have to stay disciplined. And the middle part of the race is really hard because you can't see the finish line. Like there's a part of the race where you're running and you don't know where you're going to end. So that's the part of the race where you have to stay to what you know, close to what you know, what your coaches have told you. And then you have the end, and everybody knows that you want to have a strong finish. And during the end, you have to stay dedicated and push through, overcome all the feelings and emotions, all the tiredness in your legs to kick and finish strong. So you have the start, you have the middle, and you have the end, where you're trying to remain determined, disciplined, and dedicated. So those are our top 3 things, right? Okay. So we have the race plan, but then we all understand that a race is nothing without execution. Because you can plan all this stuff, but then when you get out there on the track, you see who's next to you, to the left, to the right, you start getting a little nervous, things start getting a little shaky, but you have your plan. So it's up to you to go out there and execute. So I know you guys are like probably waiting for me to connect this back into your own lives, so that's what I'm about to do with each Bible verse. We're about to focus on breaking down the race of life and making sure we're overcoming and finishing the race of our life strong. So some people say that the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth. Have y'all ever heard that? Yeah, I know y'all like that. I like that too. So that's what we're going to use to follow our race of life. So who remembers what I said when you first get out in the race? What's your goal? Start strong. Right, stay determined. Okay, determined to get the lead, start strong. Okay, so here we have our first race instruction from God, and it comes from Philippians chapter 2, verse 13. And our directions say, your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be. Yes. So that's our step number one. You always want to get out strong. Like I know a lot of us have goals in life, but we don't always reach those goals. And at first it might seem a little hard for us to overcome and keep going, but what we have to focus on is how we will finish, not how we start, not how we are in the middle, but in the end. So when we start, we want to stay determined to finish. That's our first thing on our mind. We keep that in the front part of our head, because like we said earlier, the verse says you can't break, don't break, you got to finish the race. So that's our first instruction. We got that out of the way. We're being determined. But then we hit the middle part of our race, and like I said before, the middle part gets a little bit shaky. We get a little confused because you can't necessarily see the finish line. This is that point in life where you're wondering what's going wrong. You can't figure out what's really happening. And you're trying to focus on the finish, but you really don't see the end. So for this portion, we have 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, which says, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." So this is a verse that really hit me because we like to do a lot of stuff in life, and with discipline specifically, we like to look to other people instead of ourselves. We ask the people around us, next to us on our race, why didn't you push me to get to my finish line when their goal was their race, not your race, right? We like to ask our parents, why didn't you punish me for that thing that I did? But you know you did it. Your parents didn't do that. You did that yourself. So who should really discipline you? You got to look in the mirror and talk to yourself and see what's going on. Our teachers and the people around us, that's something that we have to handle on our own, which can be hard for us because sometimes we're looking for instructions. But in the verse specifically, it says, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline," right? So the other part about this verse that I noticed is that what God has given you, right? So we spend a lot of time in our life searching for things. We're wanting to find it. We're reaching for it when the whole time it's in us and inside of us. And it's like we reaching for something, but you're reaching for something that's not really there. So that's one part we got to understand. We got to understand and trust what is in us. So that leads me into our next part of the race where we want to stay determined, disciplined. But the last part, it says dedicated. So in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, that's what I have up there? Well, I got up there. No, it's Ecclesiastes. I'm sorry, I have multiple verses. So I'm going to start with this one, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. It says, "Without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and rewards those who earnestly seek him." The first part of the verse says, "And without faith, it is impossible to please God." We spend a lot of our life trying to please God. We try to do things, abstain from having sex until marriage, try to respect our parents, try not to steal or do other bad things to please God. But this verse is very simple. It says, without faith. So that's without trust. Without trusting your race plan, without trusting the plan that God has for your life, it's impossible to please him. So stop focusing on basic things that you do in life to try and please God, and focus more on what you're doing in your race the entire time, which is staying faithful. Wow. That's the part that I really wanted to share with you guys to say is trusting instead of trying. Because it's easy for us to, you see in life, it's real easy for us to say that we tried, right? When something doesn't go right, the first thing that comes to mind is that we tried. People say, I wanted to do it, I tried to do it, but you didn't do it, right? So you got to trust what's inside of you to get to the finish line. Instead of trying, you have to trust. And so that leads me to our last part, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11, which says, "The race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but he who endures until the end." So the first part of this verse that really got me was that the race is not given to the swift or the strong. Because in track, it's given to the swift or the strong. You got to finish strong. You got to do what you're supposed to do, what you're meant to do to finish. But sometimes we're not strong enough, we're not fast enough to keep up with the pace that we've set for ourselves. But we don't realize that God has set a specific pace for us in our life. And during certain parts of the race, when we want things to pick up, when we want to be beating the person next to us, we need to realize that it's important to focus on our own race. the most important part of track, especially the 400 and other sprints, is that you stay in your lane.
Wow.
But sometimes when you're coming across the track and the lines get really easy for you to cross into somebody else's lane and you're running next to them and you're trying to push past them, trying to beat them, when you realize, I gotta stay in my lane and I have to run my race. I have to trust my plan. My coach made that for me. He made that for me. You think, like, I spent 4 months training for this race with a coach that knows me, that knows my body. When they kick at this mark, I'm not supposed to kick there because that's not for me. It's really simple to get caught up in who's next to you, and that's something that we got to turn around and change. So the entire point of the message is basically to stay determined, disciplined, and dedicated throughout the race of life. So no matter what hits you, no matter what comes to you, stay focused on yourself. Stay focused on the person in the mirror. Stay focused on the person who has done the work to get to where they need to be. Stay focused on the Bible verses that come to you in moments when you need them. Stay focused on the things that you see at church and around you. And like I said earlier in the race, track is really interesting because it's almost like you're never running by yourself. There's always somebody next to you and around you, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to push you to be where you need to be. And that's not saying that your goal is to follow them or stick with them through the entire race, but you want to push people around you. So just like you've come today and got the message to stay determined, disciplined, and dedicated, you want to share that with someone else. So when you get home today, our goal is for you to share that with other people. We did 3Ds today, and we were hoping to have pairs of 3D glasses for you to see the race plan that God has for your life, to see the things that He's doing, to see the ways that He's working within you, and then share that with someone else. Maybe pass on the glasses that we don't have today. Instead of doing that, you can pass on a scripture or a verse. There were 3 specific ones, and you can come to me after church today if you want to get some of them. But just remember that life with the Bible provides a 3D image to us. It makes it clear, it makes it clean, it makes us whole. The directions pop out at you, you don't have to look for them because they're already inside of you. Words are no longer words because they create feelings deep within you, which is our closest connection to God. So, God gave you these glasses, why wouldn't you use them? Why wouldn't you take a verse to make your life a bit more clear?
Wow.
Hard times a bit more easy. I know people tell us to study our Bible, but it's difficult at times, but you can start with a verse, a line, something to get you started in your race, to get you out strong at the beginning of your day or your week, to get you determined, to help you push past certain circumstances, to help you feel close to God. So that was my message for today.
The word of the Lord has been preached, amen. Amen. Ashleigh.